Um, Good morning. Um, yeah, good morning. Um, another video. Another video to talk about. Um, I wanted to talk about past trauma and certain things that just has not left you and coping skills, I guess, if I'm going to talk about that. But I wanted to talk about PTSD and how sometimes you may have PTSD and you don't even know it. Talk about how, just how, you be okay, and then later on, the just certain things may just follow you and don't even know it. I want to talk about, um, I moved here in 2014. It was around July, and everything was super peaceful. Everything was super peaceful, and I remember how everything was just great. It was just so great. And however long later, I had went to Walmart, and it was a classmate from middle school. Ada Middle was my first middle school that I had went to, and it was so weird because I never really had issues with her, really not ever, but she did one time follow along with this one incident. But other than that, I have no idea where it came from. I'm just gonna use a name. Her name was Kiera because her name did start with a K. And so I remember how I was just walking in Walmart and then about to cut the corner, and I see her. Not actually, but in my head. And I'm like, what? And instantly, that's when I started having like fear of just like running into somebody from the past. And I can't even tell you what the fear was. It was just running to somebody in the past. And even if I did see them from the past, truly, it would not have really bothered me. But I would have looked at you like, I remember what you did. And back in North Carolina, like Greenville, I have seen many people from that school, and I never had fear or anything like that. I just remember seeing them, and I would just see them and just keep it moving. Or even on Facebook, I remember in 2011 was the year that we were all graduating high school, and a lot of them was sending me friend requests and nothing. But anyway, so I remember cutting the corner and I see her, and then instantly it started just putting fear in me of just running into them, which makes sense because it's called paranoia delusions. And at the time, I didn't know this was delusion. I didn't know this was paranoia, blah blah blah, which I very much have this very badly. And ever since then, I started just having constant reminders of the past. Certain things started like just followed me, and I had no idea why. Even in North Carolina, and I was never having reminders of the past and reminders of that school and how much it very much destroyed me. And just ever since then, I started just going here and there everywhere, and I started having like just ex-boyfriends. I had like this one particular ex-boyfriend, which it was never bad. I just remember all of a sudden I started seeing him like, in my head and stuff. But it was around maybe like August or September when I started having dreams of just good times. It was really just good times, and it started to really affect me greatly. I started just having like dreams of just good times. Like I remember Belvoir Elementary was my elementary school that I started going to. And I remember I remember the main dream. I used to have repeated dreams all the time. Maybe that's not a good but paranoid delusions, I was definitely having why do I always do this? I literally always or start talking about another subject when that's not the subject. But paranoia delusions, I started just having issues with the past where certain people would just be there. You know how like people actually hallucinate a person? For me, it's not an actual hallucination, but it's like an imagination of someone, but it feels so real. I don't know what that is. I just need help with that. But that's what it was like. You would imagine that person, but it feels real. Like you could feel their presence and all that. And it would get to the point where I would be so afraid to go somewhere and all that. And it got to the point where I started sometimes like talking to them. Not really, but I would just like talk to them. And that's when that's when I started just really playing in my mind, like, okay, this is not real, this is not real, like, just act like it wasn't real. And it started going, and then 2015 it started getting worse and worse and worse, where I started just seeing them everywhere, like in the bathroom, in the shower. Sometimes it would just be all in my head. I would keep just, I couldn't go nowhere without this person or the past and my school just follow me. Literally, it would just linger everywhere. And sometimes I could be cooking and I would just be looking like this because it would feel so real. And I think it was 2015 or 2016 when I was taking medication. I started taking Abilify, and just before then, I remember going to the fair and I was on this ride, and I can literally see my boyfriend or ex-boyfriend literally like on the ground looking at me, and I started just acting up and something like that. It was just getting ridiculous because I'm like, I was never thinking about this person or just this time in North Carolina, but now here I'm thinking about it. And I would just be at the fair with my sister or anybody, and I was just having a good time. But I would literally see him or anybody at the fair, like with me. And it was just make no sense why I would sometimes have these delusions of these people from the past when I have not spoke to them in forever. And mind you, I saw him in 2011, and you know what I mean? Never no paranoia delusions. Nothing. I saw some people from the past, nothing. But now all of a sudden, here I am in Georgia, I'm having these issues. And it got to the point where sometimes where I started telling my mom it was literally like a ghost just attaching me, like attached to me, and I couldn't go nowhere. And then when I moved into my house the first time, it got worse. It was like ex-boyfriends that I had not spoken in forever. It was just like classmates that I haven't spoken into forever. And it was more of a delusion than paranoia. Literally. I realized paranoia comes when I'm dealing with a toxic individual. And I had reconnected with a guy that I thought I was so in love with, and he was the one that he wanted all this fantasy to come true, marriage, kids, and blah 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 blah. Long story short, I had hit him up, and we was talking like for a while, and we was like sending letters to each other for a while. And I don't know what it was that he had sent me to where I had anxiety through the roof. I know for like a whole week. I could barely eat. It was just stress out the nine. I would comb my hair. It would come out. I was shitting water. Excuse me. This is disgusting. A well. I remember talking to a friend about this on Twitter, and she exactly knew what I was talking about. And I didn't know at the time this is basically God's way of telling you to get out before it gets worse. Because I didn't even know that year he was getting out. So that was just horrible. And that was another thing about paranoia delusions. It's a delusion where you're paranoid. And it's not like I was like afraid that he was going to get me or anything like that. That's, it was nothing like that. Oh my gosh, I got allergies. Mind you, I don't deal with it every single day. I don't deal with it every single day. It will like pass for like maybe years, months, but then it will come back for whatever reason. So there was times I would walk to the store, walk to the mailbox, and I would just have this great fear that he's around. I would sometimes talk to him in my head or something like that. It was just awful. It was awful. And I remember just going to the store, and I was going to the store. I was like going to my house, and it was awful. I had to walk away from him. I had to end that. And then once that ended, it ended. Then the only way I really had to cope with that, and I didn't even know I was coping with it, was when I was watching this movie and I had got myself attached to this character, and that was the only way, which I didn't know, that I could cope with that, and then it went away. Then I had to deal with that, attaching myself from that. Then another time I had a toxic situation, and that was honestly the worst. And I was so just paranoid about running into him. And like I said, it's not like I felt like he was gonna come and get me. And even if he saw me in person, it was not like he was gonna just hype me up and put me in his trunk. That was honestly worse. And I feel like it's just when you're dealing with toxic people, people that has such a demonic spirit or something like black in his spirit, you know. I don't even know what's the purpose of this video, because I am really trying to make sense in this video. When I'm talking to myself, I can make so much sense. It makes so much sense. But anyway, but yeah, basically, what was the purpose of this video? Oh yeah, so the past followed me when I moved to Georgia, and that's just pretty much it. I would have dreams about the past. I remember just constantly having dreams about Belvoir, because I remember I would always, I've had it like so many times where it, you know, dreams would cut to the chase. Dreams would cut to the chase. And I was constantly having dreams where it was like going straight to the playground, and we would always go to the playground. It was like literally the same play, you know, the what's it called, the equipment that you would play with, the swings, you know, that big thing where you, the rock climber, or where you would go into the cave. It was just the same thing. Then I used to have dreams where it was just weird, where I would go visit my Miss Reese's class, because that was I moved from Belvoir to another school. So I remember having to I remember going to visit her class, and sometimes it was empty and I would look for her. And sometimes I was in the 5th grade. I was sometimes in the 5th grade, but I would always go visit her. Sometimes she wasn't there. Sometimes she was not there. Most of the time she wasn't there. Then I would go see her, like, oh, hey, Miss Reese. She'll say, hey. And then it was times where it was like a reunion, like an elementary school reunion. And the classmates, we were sitting as adults. We were all sitting in our spots that we were actually in in elementary school. And it was just always it was always that dream. And then I knew that when I was going to go to sleep, I knew it was going to be the same dream. Then my middle school, because I was in 2 middle schools. I was in legit 2 middle schools. And this was at Pactos this was at Pactos Elementary. For those who don't know, this school was K to 8th grade. So at we would have school dances at this school, and oh my gosh, I remember just the feeling that I would have in that dream, where you just wish, I don't want to start crying, that you would just wish that it was still happening to this day. All the time. The dances, just being with your friends. Because I remember going to these dances, and I would have such a blast. And it was almost like you were like stuck in time. And that's pretty much what it is. You were stuck in time. That's what it is. I probably relate with that. You were stuck in time. And oh gosh, can you just imagine just repeating the best times of your life over, over? Like, you know, if you take a nap or you go to sleep for the night, you already know what's going to happen. And yeah, that was definitely the good times of my life. It's just hanging with friends and hanging with people that's not torturing you, that's not making your self-esteem going lower and lower, you know, because those are the best times, man. And then I had another dream of my great grandma, my grandma Daisy. She passed in 2006. I was 13 when she passed away. And I remember it was so weird because I used to have these dreams. I had like three settings, I think, three um dreams, different dreams, where one dream it would go to her bedroom, and the bedroom always just how her room was set was literally the same way. But sometimes some of the stuff in her dreams was kind of weird. Like she would have ventriloquist dolls, maybe one, and she would just have like a cuckoo. It was just weird. Like some of the stuff that was in the dream was never in her bedroom. Sometimes she wasn't there, but you could feel like she was actually there. And then there was times where she was in the bedroom, and I don't really remember much, but I remember in real life that I went to go see her, and I remember she was looking towards the window. She was in bed looking at the window, and I had said her name, and she looked at me and she was happy. She smiled, and it was most of the time a repeative scene in the dream. And then like in the dreams that me and her would hang out, but you knew in 24 hours, like literally in 24 hours she was going to die. And in her dining room, that it was like a funeral, like literally the next day it was a funeral, and there was a casket, but then it was a casket, but she wasn't in there, but there was people. We were all come see her. You know how it is in real life. It was just weird. Like it was weird. It was weird. Like it was all the time. It was like three different dreams. You know, there was times I would go to her house, like in the back porch. You would go to the back porch. How it was in real life, you would go to the back porch, and you know where to go. It was all the damn time. And then my other grandma, she passed away like later on that year, 2014. And I used to and she I guess you would say she was visiting me, but it was like the same dreams all the time. I don't really remember, but it was me and her all the time. You know, like I said, the past was visiting me, and some of them I really don't even know why. And then like I said, in 17, I was having delusions. It wasn't paranoia delusions, but I was having delusions as if I was like still in the classroom with one of my exes. I had an ex-boyfriend, and I mean, I could say his name, but I know he's never gonna see this video. But Ty, you know, it don't even matter. I was saying, and I remember like, because we never was in class together. We never had classes together, but it was sometime in 17 when I started watching this couple who used to do reactions, and I started really getting into their videos. And just in my mind, like I said, it's delusions, because I knew that he wasn't there. Like how I'm talking to you guys, it was almost like I knew, like, he's right here, you know what I mean? And I just felt his presence even though I know he wasn't here. But yeah, somebody actually goes through this, please help me figure out what it is. And it was what, early 2016, I think it was, when I had started taking medications. It was Abilify. I always hated Abilify, but the unfortunate thing is Abilify really fucking works. And I started taking Abilify, and literally all of that went away. Like, I remember all of that went away. And I remember trying to explain that to my mom as much as I could explain to her. And I guess it was obviously it was my imagination and shit like that, but I literally remember just having these imaginations, the delusions. Like, it's almost like you know the person is there, but you know the person is not there. Like, you know, you could see them, you could feel them, but you can't see them clearly, but it's like in your head, like an image, you know. But yeah, and it wasn't like I was lonely. It wasn't I was lonely. It wasn't like I was alone. It wasn't like, you know, after those dreams went away in 14, I was okay. Even, you know, I was okay because I wasn't thinking about them before, which was pissing me off, because I'm like, I want this to go away. And I remember in 17 where I have some of the classmates in Belvoir, and they're friends to this day, which devastates me at the time, because I'm like, I would have those friends, you know. Sometimes I do say that I wish I had friends, you know, sometimes in Georgia. I don't have no friends in Georgia. I'm by myself, which, like I said, I was okay, which I am okay, because I know once I get my ish together, I'm not going to stay here in Georgia. So it was okay. So, because I want to live in LA. I always say that I want like at least 5 close friends to the end. Like 5 close friends. I even said that I will probably find my husband there in LA. But yeah, but yeah, that's just, I guess you could say the past follows me. It comes and goes, because there's times where for a year or two I don't have it, and then it goes away. Like it literally it goes away, don't think about it. But then there's times it's like certain incidents follows me, you know. But sometimes you gotta really just um not really indulge in it, you know. That's just the truth. I'm probably rambling because it's like I feel put to the spot. You know, when I'm talking to myself, oh, I can have a good time talking to myself. And then also too, um I'm trying to stay on task, because I won't stay on task. I can see my eyes. You could tell I'm getting dizzy, and for some reason the medicine makes you like high. I mean, I've been high before, but this is like a different type of high. This is a different, because my eyes are getting like this. But I told you guys I take ascarbazepine, and even when I don't eat, like I said, even when I don't eat, that thing makes you dizzy, like a hamster wheel. It's I remember one time I was with my mom, and I didn't eat. I didn't even chew gum. Even if I chew gum, I don't think that would do anything. And I was at Walmart, and I was on the, what you call them thing, the carts, and I was like, Mom, we need to go because I am getting dizzy. I remember I was in a car. That was probably one of the worst dizziness incidents, because I could barely open my eyes. I mean, I could not open my eyes at all. But anyway, so I'm getting off here because I'm starting to feel it, which is odd because I ate like maybe 40 minutes ago. Now it's starting to kick in, which is weird. I can't even eat a grape. I can't eat a grape because that is awful. But anyway, I have surgery in what, 2 weeks. It was March 4th. I'm having surgery. So I wish I would have just vlogged the whole thing. That'd have been so badass. But anyway, I am getting like sleepy, and I'm hoping I don't sleep all day. So anyway, I will talk with you guys later.